live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waudo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Senate passes 2025 Electoral Act Amendment Bill through second reading, proposed to shift election petition proof burden onto INEC. House of Representatives passes resolution to investigate the operations, funding and performance of Nigeria's development institutions. Death toll from the tragic petrol tanker explosion in Esa community in Kachia local government area of Niger State rises to 42 and over 60 injured. At least 7 people, including 2 children, have been killed in intense Russian drone and missile attacks on Ukraine. And on sports news tonight, Super Eagles and Galatasaray forward Victor Osimhen nominated for CAF Player of the Year award. In business, oil prices surge over 2% as hopes rise for U.S. trade breakthroughs with China and India. And from Abuja, the federal government assures Nigerians that President Bola Tinubu's ongoing economic reforms aims to strengthen the economy and ease hardship. Tonight, we begin in the Red Chamber as the Senate has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025 through second reading, proposing a shift that will place the burden of proof on INEC in election petition cases. Well, that move followed the presentation of a report by the chairman of the Senate Committee on INEC, which underscored the need for more credible elections, enhanced deployment of technology, and stricter penalties to curb electoral violence. Our National Assembly correspondent, Gloria Umezoke, reports.
Our colleagues continue with...
Barely 1 week after lawmakers in the upper chamber stepped down the Electoral Act Amendment Bill for further consultation, details of the amendments re-emerge on the second day of plenary for debate.
I think INEC need to, after each election, see where the infringement are, who acted on that infringement are actually prosecuted.
As elected persons, we as senators shall not, directly or indirectly, secretly or openly, aid and abet unemployed or semi-employed people and arm them to disrupt election.
They further propose that INEC bear the burden of proof during election petitions.
We must make a change in our reviews in the Electoral Act now, requiring that for electoral matters, the burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to INEC.
We can only do our best. Nigerians will still do mischief. You will agree with me that since PDP left, the elections have improved tremendously in this country. Those in support that this bill will now read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Separately, a bill to amend the National Health Act 2014 to increase basic health care provision fund from 1% to 2% of the Consolidated Revenue Fund is also brought forward.
The National Dialogue on Health Financing endorsed this increase as critical to advancing universal health coverage.
Many Nigerians, like mentioned earlier, have resorted to local hubs because they can no longer afford basic health facilities. So I believe that this bill is timely, more so as donor agencies are not forthcoming.
Those in support that this bill will now read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking the confirmation of Dr. Bernard Mohammed Doro as a Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The president's request was contained in a letter read to senators during plenary. In the meantime, the Senate Constitution Review Committee, chaired by the Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, is expected to commence its retreat over the weekend following the initial zonal hearings held in July this year to address proposals on issues such as electoral reform, security and gender inclusion, among other issues. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezoke, Channels Television News.
Over now to the Green Chamber, where the House has passed a resolution to investigate the operations, funding and performance of development institutions in Nigeria. The House is worried that institutions like the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Development Bank of Nigeria, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and others are not as impactful as they should be, despite the huge funding from the federal government. This resolution was reached following a motion of urgent national importance by the Minority Whip, Ali Issa. In the meantime, the bill seeking to include value-added tax in the exclusive list has scaled second reading. Our National Assembly correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
It's the second plenary session of the week in the Green Chamber as the Deputy Speaker presides. The activities of the development institutions such as the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, the Nigerian Export-Import Bank, the Federal Mortgage Bank and others have caught the attention of Parliament as their impact is questioned.
Resolve. Constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the operations, funding, sources, disbursement, patterns and overall performance of all development finance institutions in Nigeria with a view of determining the level of compliance with the respective establishment acts and the Central Bank of Nigeria.
People engage us, the media, we go outside, you have a development bank, what are they doing? How many people have they supported? What is the recovery? No information. It's not in the papers. You go to their website, you don't get it. I think this is a very, very crucial committee. It will empower all of us with relevant information.
The House immediately sets up an ad hoc committee to carry out an investigation.
I would like that committee to be chaired by the Minority Leader.
The House also considers a bill to include value-added tax in the exclusive legislative list. The bill scales second reading as lawmakers believe it will, among other things, clarify the taxation powers of the federal, state and local governments.
The bill comprises of 4 clauses. 1, to provide a clarification that stamp duties collected by federal government apply only to the documents and transactions involving a corporate body, while stamp duties arising from transactions by individuals fall within the jurisdiction of states. 2, introduce a new item 59 value-added tax or consumption tax as express item on the exclusive legislative list, ensuring national uniformity, predictability, and a clear constitutional basis for VAT administration by the Federation.
Outside the chamber, the investigation into alleged non-repatriation of Nigeria's crude oil exports proceeds, estimated at over $850 billion, commences.
The committee will conduct investigative public hearing to determine exact amount of oil, gas, and non-export proceeds unrepatriated since 1996. Ascertain why government agencies report conflicting export earning data. Engage export for forensic reconciliation of export proceed account. And investigate the management and utilization of funds under the Nigerian Export Supervision Scheme.
In the meantime, the House has resolved to investigate the rising insecurity in the FCT, despite an alleged $460 million loan received from China for the installation of CCTV cameras. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Away from the National Assembly, let's now bring you an update from the tragic incident that occurred in Niger State, as the death toll from that incident of the tanker explosion has risen to 42, with over 60 persons injured. And that's according to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. But residents who blame the situation on the bad state of the road are now asking the federal government to address the situation.
It's a sad day for residents of Esa community in Kacha local government area of Niger State as a petrol-laden tanker exploded in the area. The disaster led to the death of residents who had gathered there to scoop petroleum products from the falling tanker. The incident occurred on the Bida-Badagi-Agai highway, which residents say have been in a bad state for several years.
Immediately the tanker fall,
and exploits, almost 27 people died instantly. More than 35 are seriously be injured. No day is count out that we cannot have a dead claimed by our road. And this road re-expanded and reconstructed by Shagari's administration. But after that, millions of naira have been destroyed by this busy road. Lots have been claimed, especially youth, that the nation depends.
The moment the vehicle fell down, they started coming out from the village with their buckets, their jerrycans, and other packing materials to pack the fuel. So, unfortunately, the tanker driver decided to set the vehicle on fire. One of the black marketers tried to kind of intervene. The man still rejected. From there, they started holding each other. Before you know, the tanker driver set the fire on the vehicle. Then many people were under the vehicle already. They started getting burned. Some were kind of running to the bush. In fact, many casualties were recovered from the bush.
According to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, 42 persons died, including women and children. More than 60 others, including 20 males, 7 females, and 7 children, sustained varying degrees of burns. Most of them are receiving treatment at the public and private hospital in the area.
This petroleum tanker explosion was caused as a result of bad road coupled with the nature of our youth. Whenever tanker had an accident, they would just come around and start putting the fuel. And as a result of that, the driver who is also driving the tanker feel he's not happy, and then he started having issue with the youth that is putting the fuel here. And the whole thing turned into flood that caused several lives lost. About 39 people lost their lives, 60 were seriously injured. Some of these seriously injured were evacuated to Federal Medical Center, Bida. Some were in Eastern Community who are receiving treatment.
Emergency responders, including the Nigerian Police Force, the Department of State Services, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Federal Safety Corps, joined the Niger State Emergency Management Agency and community volunteers to conduct rescue operation and maintain order.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has suspended the 2-week warning strike. It started on October the 13th, 2025. The strike, which is due to expire next Monday, was suspended following renewed commitments from the federal government and the National Assembly to address their demands. ASUU President Professor Chris Puwana made this announcement at the news conference in Abuja, citing recent interventions and engagement with the Yayale Ahmed-led committee and the Deputy Senate President as the reason for the suspension. The lecturers are now asking the federal government to take advantage of the 1-month window to address their demands, including the review of the federal government and ASUU agreement of 2009, payment of all outstanding salaries and earned allowances, payment of universities' revitalization fund, among other demands. The lecturers have threatened to resume the industrial action without any notice if nothing is done within 1 month. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has listed former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, as his witness in his ongoing alleged terrorism trial. Also listed as compellable witnesses are the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, the former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, former Chief of Army Staff, General Tukur Buratai, retired, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, and Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, among others. In a fresh motion, he personally signed and filed before Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja. Mr. Kanu assured that he was ready to begin his defense as ordered by the court. He prayed the court that in view of the number of witnesses he intends to call, the court should consider granting a 90-day time frame to enable him conclude his defense. Meanwhile, Mr. Kanu has concluded his private consultation with his legal team led by former Attorney General of the Federation, Kanu Agabi. And that meeting was held in Court 7, located at the second floor of the Federal High Court, Abuja, which is the same courtroom where proceedings in his ongoing terrorism trial is being conducted. In part 2, after the break, Vice President Kashim Shettima calls for stronger government-private sector collaboration to address Nigeria's growing challenge of youth unemployment. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Senate passes 2025 Electoral Act Amendment Bill through second reading, proposes shift election petition proof burden onto INEC. House of Representatives passes resolution to investigate operations, funding and performance of Nigeria's development institutions. Death toll from tragic petrol tank explosion in Esta community in Kacha, local government area of Niger State, rises to 42, over 60 injured. At least 7 people, including 2 children, have been killed in intense Russian drone and missile attacks on Ukraine. We turn our attention to politics now in Anambra State in Otuocha, which is a vibrant headquarters of Anambra East local government area. It came alive with dance, music and excitement as the people of 11 autonomous communities of the agrarian area, as well as supporters of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, expressed their preference for Governor Chukwuma Soludo's continuity in office. But for the people of Oyi local government area in Nteje, who received the governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and his deputy, Dr. Onyeka Chukwuibezim, the governor's transformative impact in 3 years is commendable.
It is a carnival-like atmosphere at Otuocha Township Stadium, Anambra East local government area, where the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA supporters and the people of the 11 autonomous communities of the local government area host a mega re-election rally for Governor Chukwuma Soludo. They hail Governor Soludo's "Leave No One Behind" mantra, which they say is rewriting the future of Anambra East.
I have seen a governor having worked with 3 governors that lived up the true meaning of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria by implementing the value for money audit. He told us about road construction, and if you go to the budget, you implemented road construction, and that's why you're seeing aggressive dualization of loans across everywhere.
They support the governor with a check of 50 million naira, and the highly elated governor assures them of continued impact and more accelerated development.
When you renew the mandate on November 8th, after the next 4 years, you will not recognize Anambra again. You will not recognize Anambra again. We're only beginning. This is the introduction. We are putting in place the foundations, key foundational pillars on the road to 2070.
The excitement in Oyi local government headquarters at Nteje is high as men, women and youth of the 5 communities of the area troop out to show solidarity for the governor. Here again, the people support Governor Chukwuma Soludo's re-election with a donation of over 80 million naira, while assuring him of victory in the 15 wards.
I stand here before the Oyi as the PG of all PGs of Oyi, giving you the unalloyed support. We unequivocally state that we are strongly behind you.
Governor Soludo describes his visit as a homecoming and discloses that after the renewal of the mandate on November the 8th, Anambra State will experience unprecedented transformation.
This is homecoming from me. I deeply appreciate you. Appreciate all your stakeholders. Omelora, thank you very much for joining us on this moment This one coming November 8th, we don't take your support for granted. We don't take the support of anybody for granted. Not one vote. We don't take it for granted. Even though you ask me to go home and sleep, that Oyi is for me. You have always been for me. But I'm only saying now, anywhere work to be done.
The people are desirous of free, fair, and credible elections as they pledge to mobilize the vote massively for APGA in all the respective wards come November the 8th.
The news at 10 continues now. Let's head over to Abuja studios where Victoria Longjen is standing by. Over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Anne. Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for collaboration between the government and the private sector to tackle the challenge of youth unemployment in Nigeria. He made the call during the official launch of the Nigeria Jubilee Fellows Program 2.0 in Abuja. According to the Vice President, youth employment is not just a policy priority, but a shared responsibility that requires the private sector players and philanthropy communities. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Annually, about 4 million youths flood Nigeria's labor market, but only less than 25% secure formal employment, leaving Nigeria with a 6.5% youth unemployment rate. It is against this backdrop that the Vice President and other guests have converged on the banquet hall of the State House, Abuja, to launch the second phase of the Nigeria Jubilee Fellow Program, a federal government initiative funded by the European Union and implemented by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP.
This new phase builds on the lessons of the past and responds to today's realities. It will place 34,000 young problem solvers across the country for structured 12-month work placement and mentorship by 2026 and thereafter 20,000 each year.
The European Union is immensely proud to have committed a significant amount of 44 million euros to support the NGFP, demonstrating our firm belief in its potential of youth in national economic development of Nigeria.
In addition to creating more job opportunities, the program is expected to contribute to national development.
For our young people are not the problem to be solved, but the solution to drive change. Their creativity, their energy, the ideas remain our great asset in driving the economic transformation across the key sectors.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who reiterates the commitment of the government to empowering the youths, underscores the need for all hands to be on deck to transform Nigeria's bulging population into demographic dividends.
Our immediate goal is to raise $220 million, not as a charity, but as an investment in the nation's most valuable assets, our young people. We're asking each partner represented here today to see this as an opportunity to act, to demonstrate that youth employment is not just a policy priority, but a shared responsibility.
Fellows of the Nigerian Jubilee.
Beneficiaries of the first phase of the program hand over the baton to move on to their next phase of life as Vice President Shettima officially flags off the second phase of the Nigeria Jubilee Fellows Program. From the Presidential Villa, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Now still ahead on the news at 10, oil prices surge over 2% as hopes rise for U.S. trade breakthroughs with China and India. That's from Business News. Join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. The federal government is assuring Nigerians that the current economic reforms by the administration of President Bola Tinubu are aimed at placing Nigeria on a solid footing to reduce the hardship being experienced. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, said this during the 2025 annual conference of the Chartered Institute of Directors Nigeria in Abuja, where he represented President Bola Tinubu. The minister says the government is expanding investment access to medium, small and micro enterprises as part of efforts to improve the welfare of Nigerians. He also adds that the removal of fuel subsidy and the harmonization of the dollar exchange rate are policies that place the nation's economy in the right direction.
From the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, members of the Chartered Institute of Directors Nigeria converged for the 2025 annual conference of the Institute. The nation's current economic outlook and the challenges of good governance are the focus of discussion at the conference.
Our gathering here today is to reflect how sound governance and strong leadership principles can drive the economic growth and development of our nation. As we all know, good governance is a practical tool for fostering economic resilience and sustainable progress.
Our mission is clear: to develop competent, ethical, and visionary leaders who will drive enterprise performance and national prosperity. This year's theme, Leading Through Change, Building Sustainable and Inclusive Enterprises, is timely and appropriate given the global economic and policy thrusts.
The keynote speaker hinges his presentation on the need for corporate leaders to take responsibility for the development of the nation.
We are confronting some truth where we stand, and for me, given where we are as a nation and as a continent, it is time to tell ourselves the truth. Not to assign blame, but to take responsibility, not to lament, but to rebuild.
He highlights the need for Nigeria to adopt systems from global economies.
Let's consider Singapore one more time. At independence, the country chose to run its nation like a corporation, driven by efficiency, meritocracy, and measurable outcomes. Through statutory boards and commercially managed state investments, decisions were made with speed, clarity, and discipline.
The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, is representing President Bola Tinubu at the conference, and he explains how the federal government is driving investment through medium, small, and micro enterprises to reposition the nation's economy.
The government is expanding access to MSMEs, especially for women and youth, accelerating investment in renewable energy and climate-smart agriculture, strengthening digital literacy and digital infrastructure.
The two-day conference, which continues with panel and plenary sessions, is aimed at brainstorming on how to grow Nigeria's economic potential.
The company news now. A fresh wave of hope and opportunity is sweeping across Nigeria's education landscape as the Grooming Center, a non-governmental organization dedicated to empowering low-income families, held the 9th edition of the Lady Kate Okafor Scholarship Scheme in Lagos, honoring 943 secondary school students from across the country. The initiative continues to shine as a beacon of possibility for children from economic challenged backgrounds. The Lady Kate Okafor Scholarship Scheme, an inspiring project of the Grooming Center, provides annual educational support of 50,000 naira to each beneficiary from SS1 to SS3. The program is designed to ensure that the children of the center, many of whom struggle to afford quality education, are given a fighting chance to complete their secondary schooling and pursue their dreams.
A lively and colorful celebration fills the air as the Grooming Center, a non-governmental organization renowned for its commitment to financial inclusion and community empowerment, hosts the 9th edition of the Lady Kate Okafor Scholarship Scheme. The event honors 943 children of its members across the Federation.
For somebody to get up and say, my interest is to make sure that our children, they go to school, I think it's a very good development, and I think we should be happy with the center, and we'll continue to say, the center, you continue to do well, and our clients, you continue to do better.
Each beneficiary will receive an annual scholarship of 50,000 naira, supporting their education from Senior Secondary School 1 through Senior Secondary School 3, and encourage consistent academic performance. Amid applause and emotion, the children of Lady Kate Okafor reflect on their mother's unwavering passion for education and empowerment.
During her time on earth, she concentrated on helping families through education, because she found out that if you empower a child, you empower the future. So this is just to honor her, and we know that Grooming Center, even with their mission and vision, is geared towards helping women, helping kids. So it aligns well.
Here at the Grooming Center, we don't want education to collapse. And that is why we are making this impact in the life of the children, going this extra mile. Because we know at this stage of their life, they are choosing their career, they are choosing, their fields, and we want them to choose right.
Since its launch in 2016, the Lady Kate Okafor Scholarship Scheme has transformed lives, reaching over 5,000 students nationwide.
I'm very appreciative of Grooming Center. They have given me a lot, and for this money, I think I'm going to use it to continue my education. I'm in SS2, and now I have a lot of future plans, and I'm going to be a veterinary doctor.
Basically, you have to be a member of the grooming ecosystem, particularly the Grooming Center that they gives out money. We give out money to people who trade on tabletops and tomatoes, beans, rice, all these ones, because we are at the bottom of the pyramid. So we want to get to them.
The organization's vision remains clear: to build stronger communities by providing opportunities, knowledge and hope for a brighter, more equitable future.
And that's it from the nation's capital. It's now back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Victoria. Let's turn our attention to the governorship election in Anambra State, which is actually drawing closer. November 8th is the date, and now the candidate of the African Democratic Congress, John Chuma Nwosu, says that he is confident of victory. He was speaking in Awka after an enlarged meeting with party leaders across the state, where various strategies for a successful election were finalized.
It's an enlarged meeting of the African Democratic Congress political structure in Anambra State. In attendance, a ward chairman from the 326 wards, local government party chairman, campaign coordinators, and members of the State Executive Committee. For the ADC governorship candidate, John Chuma Nwosu, the gathering is a strategic step towards ensuring victory in November 8th polls.
ADC is a coalition party. What do I mean by coalition? It comprises of all the oppositions coming together to form a bloc. So today is the first time after the harmonization that we are bringing all the ward chairmen, all the local government chairmen, the state executives, the members of the campaign council and coordinators. This is the first meeting to bring them together in one place and then have interactive section with the candidates and also plan for the election.
The party leaders say they're united and prepared to deliver victory for the ADC.
I am from Anambra Central, Idemili North. I will tell you that it is not easy, but we are going to make it happen. We are going to defeat an incumbent. We are working with the grassroots, down to the grassroots. That is the only way you can unseat an incumbent, going to where they cannot go, meeting people they cannot meet. That is what we are doing. And by the special grace of God, we are going to surprise them. We are going to win by the grace of God.
The meeting, which lasted several hours, reaffirmed the party's preparedness and unity as the countdown to the governorship election continues.
To company news now. In line with a vision to end social isolation through the Nivea Connect project, one of the leading skincare companies, Nivea, has held the official fund handover ceremony to SOS Children's Villages, a non-governmental organization focused on supporting children with the aim of fostering social connections. But the management of Birthserve Nivea Nigeria says the partnership will be mutually beneficial as it reflects the shared belief of both organizations.
As part of its dream to see a world where everyone has the social connections they need to thrive, Nivea Connect, an initiative of Nivea, one of the leading skincare companies around the world, has entered into partnership with SOS Children's Villages, a non-governmental organization focused on supporting children.
We have come up with a global mission called Nivea Connect, where we provide this meaningful connection, safe space, and security so that children can not only survive but actually thrive.
This is an implementation of us caring beyond the skin. It's a renewed and a continued partnership. It's not a one-off. This is beyond us, actually. It's a global movement.
An official fund handover ceremony, which took place at the Nivea office in Lagos, validates the firm's mission to fight against loneliness and social isolation. The representatives from SOS Children's Village are optimistic of the impact of the fund on the lives of the children.
The various components of the project would include both the psychosocial support, we include referrals to professionals, where they will get diagnosis, drugs if possible, all under this partnership. So for us, it's huge that Nivea is investing in this process with SOS, and they have chosen SOS Children's Villages as a partner.
Top officials of Nivea Nigeria speak on the reasons for the partnership and the expected benefits.
We have a goal in 2-3 years where we want to get to in terms of reducing social isolation and loneliness. And so long as those metrics are being met, we will renew it going forward. It's not just a donation for us. This is a commitment we are making to long-standing partnership to make the right impact in our society, to help our youth develop resilience, and also to fight social isolation and loneliness.
We just believe that these funds will be used to continue the intervention programs that they are currently executing and, have even more people on board, reach more children that they are reaching currently. And we know that it's not a one-time thing. It's a partnership that we know will continue with the SOS Children Villages.
With more than 130 years of experience, Nivea, a brand that is deeply rooted in values of togetherness and inclusivity, with over 50 products available in over 170 countries around the world, says with Nivea Connect, it is committed to fighting social isolation by fostering meaningful social connections.
Let's join Will Ibong now to take us through the world of business.
Thank you, Anne. Oil prices rose for a second straight day, gaining over 2% on optimism over potential U.S. trade deals with China and India. Brent crude settled at $62.67 a barrel, while U.S. WTI hit $58.60. Analysts say a possible U.S.-India agreement could see India cut Russian oil imports, lifting global demand for other grades. Talks between U.S. and Chinese officials this week are also boosting sentiment. Prices were further supported by falling U.S. crude inventories and plans by Washington to buy 1 million barrels for its strategic petroleum reserve. And its record-breaking moves at the NGX as the oil-share index crossed 153,000, lifted largely by gains in Dangote cement. Laddie Williams tells us more.
Well, it's been another positive session on the Nigerian exchange as the all-share index extends its winning streak, rising for the third time this week in a midweek trading session, 1.50%. I guess it's on price discovery now, 153,736 for the all-share index. And we see the market cap on the road to $100 trillion naira, 97.58 trillion there. Let's look at the sectors that we track now. We see investors remain upbeat across key sectors. Just the banking counter there, the laggard with the sectors that we track, 0.42% down there with some tier 1 and tier 2 banks dipping today. For consumer goods, that's up 0.30%, and a big move up for the oil and gas counter, 2.07%. We see the market move today. Cement giant with a market cap of over 10 trillion, up about 33% this year alone, and we see buy interest taking it up about 6% today. We also had the likes of MTN Nigeria, Aradel, adding to their share price today, adding to this big jump we see in the market. So with the market posting its third consecutive gain, analysts say the trend reflects improving confidence and strategic positioning ahead of upcoming earnings reports and policy signals. Still, they caution that profit-taking and macroeconomic headwinds could test the rally in the days ahead.
Let's see the snapshot of closing numbers for other major global equities. And that's business. Is back to Anne.
Thank you, Will. And now outside our shores, we join Simon Puser with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Officials say at least 7 people have been killed, including 2 children, during intense Russian drone and missile strikes on Ukraine. A kindergarten was hit in Ukraine's second biggest city, Kharkiv, and there was widespread damage in Kyiv. Children were among the 27 people wounded. Hours earlier, US President Donald Trump said his plans for an imminent summit in Budapest with Russia's Vladimir Putin had been shelved as he did not want a wasted meeting. President Zelensky said the attacks proved Moscow had not come under enough pressure for its continued war.
I said, go to the line of battle, or the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody takes some time off, because you got 2 countries that are killing each other. You got 2 countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens.
Police say 46 people have been killed after several vehicles crashed on a major highway in Uganda. The police revised down an earlier death toll of 63, saying they had mistakenly included victims who were unconscious and were now being treated. The crash occurred when 2 buses travelling in opposite directions met head-on while trying to overtake other vehicles. The injured have been taken to different hospitals in the western town of Kiriandongo. South African authorities have suspended 8 pupils linked to a case of alleged bullying that has caused national outrage. A video showing a horrific assault at Milnerton High School in Cape Town last week has been widely shared on social media. Several boys are seen repeatedly hitting a fellow pupil with various objects. According to reports, the boy was one of 9 allegedly assaulted. Angry parents gathered outside the school on Wednesday in protest and were dispersed by police firing tear gas. Violence broke out during a protest outside a hotel used to house asylum seekers in Dublin. Irish police were attacked with bricks, fireworks and glass bottles at the City West Hotel in Saggart. 6 people were arrested and 5 of them have been charged. The protests came after an alleged sexual assault of a young girl in the vicinity in the early hours of Monday morning.
Garda Síochána had a policing operation in place for this public gathering organised by disparate groups on social media to stir up hatred and violence and encourage and entice others to get involved. I would like to commend my colleagues who are on duty tonight for their professionalism, courage and resilience.
The Louvre Museum in Paris has reopened 3 days after jewellery worth 88 million euros was stolen in a brazen daylight robbery. Visitors were welcomed back to the Louvre from 9 a.m. local time, but the museum said its Apollo Gallery, where the heist took place, remained closed. Thieves wielding power tools took less than 8 minutes to break into the world's most visited museum and make off with jewellery on scooters on Sunday morning. They have not yet been caught. Mosquitoes have been found in Iceland for the first time after the country experienced record-breaking heat this spring. An insect enthusiast encountered the mosquitoes over several nights while using wine-soaked ropes to observe moths. Only a few species can successfully survive winter. Iceland was one of only 2 mosquito-free havens in the world prior to the discovery, partly due to its cold climate. The only other recorded mosquito-free zone is Antarctica. And Oregon State's annual Pumpkin Regatta has taken place. Hosted since 2004, the rowing race sees competitors dress up as characters or objects and take to the water in a pumpkin they have grown.
3, 2, 1, go!
Contestants spend the morning carving their pumpkin out to make it ready for the waters. The pumpkins are grown locally, often by the same farmers competing in the race. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Let's delve into the world of sports. Super Eagles forward Victor Osimhen has been nominated for the 2025 Men's African Player of the Year. Osimhen is named in the 10-player list of nominees released by Confederation of African Football today. He won the award in 2023. He was instrumental for Galatasaray's last season, scoring 26 league goals to help the club seal a league and cup triumph. Nigeria's Flamingos suffered defeat in their second group game at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Morocco. Nigeria lost 1-0 to France in a must-win game after conceding in the 81st minute. The Flamingos have now scored just 1 goal in 2 matches, but have left in 5 goals. World Athletics has announced the selection of Lagos as the host city for the inaugural Africa Road Running Conference. The event is scheduled to take place next year, ahead of the 2026 edition of the annual Lagos City Marathon. The chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, says that Nigeria accepted the opportunity to host the conference as it aligns with the federal government's vision of integrating sports into the nation's economy. And the main news again. Senate has passed the 2025 Electoral Act Amendment Bill through second reading, proposing to shift election petition proof burden onto INEC. Also today, House of Representatives passed a resolution to investigate the operations, funding and performance of Nigeria's development institutions. And death toll from tragic petrol tanker explosion in Essa community, Kacha local government area of Niger State, has risen to 42, with over 60 people injured. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night and stay safe.